Hi, I'm Joel Schrank, voiceover talent and entrepreneur. Today, we're going to talk about goal setting, but not just goal setting, goal completing. Simplifying concepts that really help you in life, relationships, and business. This is the Speaking Easy podcast. All right, so number one, write them down. I feel like I say that about everything I talk about on this podcast, but that's because it's true about just about everything you want to get accomplished. If you write it down, you have a much higher chance of actually doing it. There have been multiple research studies that show this. And so write it down, but what's more than that is revisit your goals regularly. My wife and I make goals at the beginning of each year. We make goals for the year, and then we make goals, stretch goals for the next 5 years. And part of that goal list is going through every quarter and revisiting the goals and making sure that we're actually working towards them. And it's surprising sometimes we'll go and revisit our goals and be like, oh yeah, I forgot that I was even going to be working on that this year. I should probably get started. So it's important not only to write them down, but also check up on yourself. Make sure that you've got some sort of accountability to go back and check and make sure that you're actually working on them. So number two, make your goals SMART goals. Now, I don't just mean make them intelligently. I mean make them SMART, as in make them S-M-A-R-T. It's an acronym. You might have heard it before. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So first, make your goals as specific as possible. Don't just say, I'm going to go do something sometime and then expect it to get done. Make it as specific as you can. So, for example, one of my goals this year is I want to increase the speed at which I run a 5K. But I'm not just going to say I want to run faster. I'm going to say I want to run a 5K faster than what I'm running it now, which takes me to the next part of the SMART goals, M, which stands for measurable. How do you know that you've completed your goal? What's the measurement? What's the metric that you're using to determine whether or not you have completed your goal? So for my 5K goal, I want to run a 5K in 24 minutes or less, which is faster than I've ever done it before. That's my metric. Once I've run it in 24 minutes or less, I know I've met my goal. So next is A, achievable. Make your goal something that you can actually do. Don't set some wild goal that you have no chance of ever being able to complete. So, for example, with my 5K goal, I set my goal for 24 minutes to run a 5K, which is something that for me is actually kind of achievable. I think I can actually get to that. I'm not going to set a goal to say I can run a 5K in 10 minutes or something crazy like that, because I don't even know if anybody can run a 5K in 10 minutes. That's ridiculous. I mean, maybe they're out there, but that's insane. So I set it for something that for me is very achievable. I've got to shave off about a minute off of my current personal best. And then the next part is R for relevant. Make it something that's actually relevant to your life. What's the purpose of this goal? What does it have to do with the rest of your life? And if it really doesn't seem to fit with your life, you can't really find a purpose for it, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. Maybe you should reassess whether or not it's a goal you should even have on your list. Again, for my 5K goal, I like running triathlons. I've been running 5Ks and 10Ks and half marathons and triathlons for the past few years, to the point where I've gotten a relatively fast 5K from when I first started anyway, and it's something that I enjoy doing and I like doing, and it's a part of my everyday life. So making a goal to make my 5K a little bit faster really makes sense for me. And I see what the purpose is. I'm going to be running another triathlon this spring, and I'm definitely going to be doing more of that sort of stuff in the future. So find out what the purpose of your goal is. What's its relevancy to your life? And then lastly, time-based. What's the time frame that you want to try and complete this goal in? Don't just set it for whenever this happens. Actually set a specific time. So again, for my 5K goal, I want to try and reduce the time that I run the 5K down to 24 minutes within the next year. It's one of my goals for the year. If I don't complete that within the next year, I won't have accomplished my goal. So there you go. It has to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Number 3, work with a partner. Research has also shown that having a partner to help keep you accountable really goes a long way, maybe even more so than writing it down, in helping you to accomplish your goal. Because you've got somebody who you can report to, you can report your progress, they can help push you along, they can give you that encouragement that you need. When I ran my first half marathon, I had my wife as my partner the whole time. The way it started was she was actually supposed to run the half marathon. She had signed up to do it, and then we got pregnant. And she hadn't really been doing a lot of running before she got pregnant. She was just at the beginning of her training. And we decided that just to make sure that everything went well with the pregnancy and there were no issues, that I would run the half marathon, I would train for it. And then what she did was she helped me to fundraise for it. We actually signed up under what's called a charity bib for this particular run, where instead of paying the registration fee, we pledged to raise $1,000 for a specific charity, and then that paid for our registration fee, essentially. We were donating money to a charity instead of paying a registration fee. But if you don't raise the entire $1,000, then you have to pay the $1,000 out of your own pocket instead of just the couple $100 registration fee. And so my wife, since she was the one who initially had wanted to do this charity bib idea, she was the one who really did all the fundraising. She went above and beyond. She did piano concerts. She went and solicited people to try and help raise money for this organization that we were trying to support. And besides that, she was a cheerleader for me the whole time while I was training. And then when we crossed the finish line, she was right there waiting with my family. And I'll never forget the moment when we hugged, we put our hands above our heads, we cheered because we knew that we had done it together. It was something we accomplished together. And so whenever you're working with your goals and trying to work on your goals, I encourage you to work with a partner, because not only does it give you encouragement, but it gives you somebody to celebrate with. And that brings me to number 4, enjoy your successes. Celebrate your wins. Really live in the moment and enjoy what you've accomplished. But I will also say, don't celebrate for too long. Let yourself enjoy the success, but then you need to start moving on to the next thing. There's always a temptation, I think, because we just love living in our successes so much, to just let that ride and use that as an excuse to not do any work now. Say that I make my goal of reaching that 24-minute 5K, and then I just stop running. What would be the point? If I stopped running, if I just decided, oh, I did it, I can finally relax and not have to do any more running because I made my goal, well, then the whole thing would have been for nothing. So yeah, usually when I reach a goal, especially an exercise goal, I'll take some time and maybe I'll take a week or so and say, hey, I made my goal. Maybe I'll take a week and just kind of let that success live for a little bit, enjoy the success, and maybe give myself a little bit of a rest. But then you got to get right back in the saddle and keep going. Keep making goals towards the next thing. What's your next goal going to be for that? So enjoy your successes, but don't live in them for too long. Don't let yourself just get lost in it that you forget why you did the goal in the first place. And then lastly, number 5, you need to learn to be okay with some failure. Along the way, whenever you're trying to accomplish something new, there's going to be some element of failure. You have to get used to that, but you also have to be able to move past it. And that's one of the areas that having a partner working with you really helps, because your partner can help lift you up in your failures. Because sometimes you may make a mistake, sometimes things may not go the way you want, but especially if you've got someone by your side helping you, they can give you encouragement. And if you followed the SMART goals and you've made your goal an attainable one, then you know that you can do it. You know that you actually can do it. And that failure doesn't represent a failure of the goal as a whole. It just represents a failure in the moment and something that you need to work through and figure out a new way of doing things, or find a way around that failure or that obstacle. So keep working towards your goals. Write them down, make them SMART goals. Work with a partner, celebrate your wins, but keep on moving forward and be okay with some failure along the way. I hope that this has been helpful to you, and if it has, I hope you'll like this video and subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you next time.